right, why don't we get going? Feel free to keep populating the chat with your names, your institutions, anything else that you want to say. It's really great to kind of see all of you. I'm seeing a lot of unfamiliar faces too, so it's really great to meet you all for the first time as well. And welcome to our Green Chemistry Commitment informational session. So I'll just take a second and introduce the higher ed team at Beyond Benign. My name is Nimrat. I am a program manager for higher education, and I'm going to be kind of leading us through this presentation today. But also on the line, you might see their faces, are Natalie O'Neill, who's our director of higher education, and Juliana Vidal, who's another one of our program managers for higher education too. So you'll see them throughout the presentation, and feel free to engage and poke us as necessary. So before beginning this presentation, I just wanted to start out with this slide. Because you're all here today, and this is a green chemistry education presentation, I know I don't need to kind of really talk too much about this, but we really do like this quote from Jeffrey Whitford at Millipore Sigma about the role of green chemistry playing in solving the challenges of today and tomorrow, and the need for students to really kind of have that background as they move through the workforce too, in order to be able to solve technical challenges, but also addressing environmental impacts as we continue to care about sustainability moving forwards. And you can see that there are a lot of industries that do support green chemistry education, which is wonderful. And so this is increasingly becoming more and more important as we kind of move into the future. And just kind of to continue on for this, as the demand for greener chemicals rises, so does the demand for chemists to be trained with the skills to design safer, less hazardous chemical products. And we can see that through a couple of the kind of studies mentioned here. But really the point of this is to be able to say that if we're training chemists with the correct skills in designing safer, less hazardous chemical products, they can be part of the solution for a sustainable future, one that's in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, one that cares about environmental impacts at the same time as the function of chemical products. And so that's kind of where we come in. Beyond Benign was co-founded in 2007 by Dr. John Warner, who's the co-founder of the field of green chemistry, and Dr. Amy Cannon, who holds the world's first PhD in green chemistry. And we regularly collaborate with these industry partners, with universities, with nonprofits and NGOs across the globe, really to create systemic change in chemistry education worldwide. So looking to kind of really integrate those principles of greenness and sustainability into chemistry courses wherever they're taught. And we do that across the educational spectrum. And we do that by empowering educators primarily to be able to teach this material, or to integrate it into their courses, or to provide them support when they're already doing this kind of work. Because that's really how we know we're going to transform the system in that way. And so we do that through primary and secondary school initiatives and educational initiatives. I work on the higher ed team, so today you're going to be hearing from me more about the things that we're doing at universities and colleges across the world, and then all the way through to the workforce too. And the way that we want to do that is also by fostering a diverse and welcoming community, so that that transformative and systemic change is driven by all of us together, and across all aspects of that student journey. And so we do that through kind of these 5, I would say, pillars of Beyond Benign, primarily investing in educators, because you are the main people that we work with, developing tools and resources, really focusing on those peer support networks, helping to make the connections between all of you so that you can kind of learn more from each other and do that work with each other too. Strategic partnerships to kind of make that happen. And then, of course, a major pillar of what we do is instilling diversity, equity, belonging, and respect throughout all of our programming and our activities. And we really want this to be able to contribute to the awareness, increased belief, understanding, confidence, and integration of that green chemistry educational material into classrooms and across the educational spectrum. And again, we work with educators. We know you are catalysts. So one of you in your classes has tremendous impact The material that you teach goes to your students, wherever they go after that, whether or not they become chemists or have scientific careers or not, we know that they're taking the things that you taught them and that they have learned in their classes and applying that in their future careers. And so we know that working with you creates significant change, which is why we're happy that this is our network and that you are the people that we get to work with. And one of the ways in which that we do that, the major program that we run in the higher ed division of Beyond Benign, is the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. And so what this is that it's a commitment that you can sign on to. We're really trying to unite the green chemistry community by building this network with everyone who has a common vision to kind of expand that community of the green chemists. Think about how you can share resources or learn from one another about tips and tricks for integrating green chemistry into your education, improving connections for people in academia to industry and also job opportunities, and then really together to be able to affect that systemic and lasting change. And there's 4 kind of major pillars of the commitment program. And so we call them the student learning objectives. Really through our support in this program, what we're all kind of committing to is for students to be able to learn green chemistry theory, so the principles, for them to be able to learn lab skills, so being able to practice green chemistry practically with their hands, toxicology, so that piece of being able to design molecules that are inherently less hazardous or inherently benign while being able to serve their intended purpose. And then finally, application too. So how are students going to be able to take what they learned and then apply it in their future careers wherever they go? So that is the kind of support that you will get through this program. We're very happy to say that we have over 100 signers now. We have 108 globally, the majority of whom are in North America, but we do have signers on every continent that has educational institutions. So we're really, really pleased that this is a really global program and that we can all kind of connect and network and learn from each other and grow together in that way. And the people who are really guiding us through that process too, and that we really benefit from having are the Green Chemistry Commitment Advisory Board members. And they're made up of professionals from academia, industry, government, nonprofits. And so we're really, really grateful to have them on our team advising us in that way. And you can kind of see them all here, and they're on our website too. One of the things that we do and the ways in which we can kind of support through this program is with the provision of resources that we do have available on our website. So all of our resources are open access and free for anybody to download and use. So please do feel free to browse our website and to download those resources. These are some of our kind of latest curriculum releases, but the reason that I'm kind of laying this breadcrumb now is because I'm going to talk a little bit later about the Green Chemistry Teaching and Learning Community online platform, where that will be the place where all these resources from us, but then also your resources as the community can live in the future. So just putting that breadcrumb now, but we'll come back to it later in a second. So back to the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. What we do hear from our signers is that there are increased adoption rates of green chemistry once signing the program. And so we're hearing from, this is from an audit that we did last year, we're hearing from our faculty members at signing institutions that they are feeling supported through this program. And these are just kind of some of the following ways in which they've made some changes at their own institutions. And this is really what we love to see, is that they're getting the support from us and being able to do what they do best. So just to give you an idea, these are the 81 signers that we do have in the US. It's a bit of a small slide to be able to show all the logos, so I've just listed them here. And then we do have 27 international signers. And so again, we are really pleased that this is such a global initiative and that all these people are part of our community. And we do want more people to join and to be able to connect with one another and network with each other in that way. And if you are curious at all about kind of how green chemistry has been integrated into these various institutions, we do have some case studies on our website. The link is there below. And I will mention these slides will be made available afterwards too, with all the links active, so you can feel free to kind of follow them from the slides there. But yes, please go do check out these case studies, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea of how this kind of systemic change is being completed at different institutions. One of the kind of major parts of the Green Chemistry Commitment Program, and what is most relevant to all of you being from US institutions, is our 25 by 25 initiative. So we really want to be able to ensure that 25% of graduating chemists in the US students have a background in green chemistry by 2025. And so this program is aimed at really kind of creating that critical mass of students who are coming out of their education with those green chemistry skills. And we really want to also use this to inspire other institutions to pursue green chemistry. So we're at 81 US signers to date, and we're really hoping that this will grow and that people will kind of will be able to include those statistics in our program. And I will say a very critical component of this, and a very critical component of the US educational institutional map, is minority serving institutions. And so over the past year, we've really designed an initiative to provide dedicated support for minority serving institutions through this 25 by 25 program. And there's three kind of program objectives that result in these benefits for MSIs that you can see below. So funding, professional development, leadership opportunities, student events, and then conference and publication support. So I'll start with the first program objectives, which is partnering with chemistry departments at MSIs. And that is through our Green Chemistry Commitment Program. So I'm really excited to be able to show this slide. These are the minority serving institutions who are currently part of the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. I believe we have 21 right now, and it's really great to actually have these institutions as a critical component of the community that is affecting systemic change, and to be able to highlight the work that they're doing as well. So I just wanted to show you that. The kind of second part of this initiative is building inclusive, diverse community spaces, specifically dedicated for MSI faculty and students, and also just in general minority communities to collaborate, learn, and share about green chemistry. And so there's a few different ways that we're doing that. And if you recall the breadcrumb that I dropped earlier about the green chemistry teaching and learning community, this is what that is. So this is an online platform that will be launching this year, because it's 2023 now. And it's really just by the community for the community, and is aimed at being a one-stop shop for anything green chemistry education. So being able to host resources on the site, either resources from Beyond Benign or resources that the community has developed where they can put it there, other people can make use of them. These resources can be cited, etc. We want this online platform to be a place where people are making connections and networking with one another, so that it's easy for you to find each other, especially if your institutions are similar and you want to collaborate, share, learn from one another. Creating forums and discussion tools, that kind of collaboration and mentoring piece that I just mentioned. And then also we'll have job boards and industry connections. And really a priority for us here is also creating dedicated spaces for the green chemistry commitment signers to benefit from being part of that network with one another, and especially for MSIs within the signer community. And I've put John's photo in the corner there. That's Jonathan Moyer. He's our senior program manager, and he is the lead for the green chemistry teaching and learning community. You can visit our website and sign up for all the updates, but this is really going to be the place where our resources live and where all those conversations centered around resources, the signer community, etc., are going to happen this year. So stay tuned. I love this slide actually, because it's just a core picture of the core values of the GCTLC, and really the kind of main component of it, building and fostering that community that's genuine, where everyone feels like they belong, and so that we can all practice green chemistry education together without excluding anyone. And these are the wonderful people who are part of the GCTLC leadership committee. And so you can visit our website and see their faces there. And they're from a variety of different backgrounds, which has been awesome in terms of getting that program off the ground. So please do keep this in mind when you're thinking about where to go to connect with other people. This will be the place. For now, the other thing that we are also doing is we are hosting these Green Chemistry Connections, which I can see a few of you who have already been to the connections. But this is really the space right now, as the GCTLC gets up and running, for the signer community to come in and to have those conversations. I will say anyone can attend, so you don't have to be a signer, but usually we showcase talks from people from the signer community about the green chemistry work that they're doing, and have dedicated networking and connecting breakout rooms for people to talk to one another and kind of really try and connect in that way virtually. So the next meeting is actually next Wednesday, and you can sign up and register for it by following the link there. And I will say we're always looking for speakers. And so if you're interested in showcasing some of the work that you've been doing, please do email any member of the higher ed team, and we'd be more than happy to chat with you further about it and to try and find a space for you. Another place where we're going to be kind of active this year are conferences across the board. I've just highlighted two that are kind of more upcoming where we're going to be. So Natalie and Juliana and Dr. John Warner are going to be at the ACS Spring Meeting, which is in Indianapolis in March. And they're going to have a booth, and we are running sessions and we have talks. So you can follow the link there to kind of go to our website to see who's doing what, but please do find us at ACS Spring. And then myself and a large proportion of the Beyond Benign team will be at the Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference in June in Long Beach, California. The one session that I did, we do have a variety of sessions there, but the one session that I did want to highlight, which myself, John Moyer from the GCTLC, and David LaVisca and Glenn Hurst are running together, is this session called Amplifying Voices of Scholars from Diverse Communities. And really the aim of this session is to highlight the green chemistry education work that's being done at specifically minority serving institutions and by minority communities and by those who work with minority communities. So please do apply to our session. The call for abstracts is open, and we'd really, really love to see you there if you're going to have a presence at that conference. One of the things that we're also doing right before the conference, which is tremendously exciting, is that the Green Chemistry Commitment Program is now 10 years old, and we want to celebrate that. And so we're hosting a summit on June 12th, the day before the conference, at the conference venue, so at the hotel. There's more information if you follow that link there, but this is just to save the date. Please do come and see us in California. I believe this will be a hybrid session too. I'm trying to see if Natalie's face is there. So you can join us virtually as well, but please do. Yes. Yeah. Natalie's like, yes, it's hybrid. Yeah. So we'd love to see you. We'd love to have you. And this is going to be really exciting because we've hit that 10-year mark. So many fun things will be in store. And then the last kind of thing that I wanted to talk about as part of the MSI initiative is really the kind of funding and dedicated support that we're trying to provide to green chemistry student leaders. And I will say also to faculty leaders too, small addendum there. But one of the first things I'd like to mention, which was actually in the email that I sent out to all of you, is this student grant that we do have available. So we have 5 grants available. This is for specifically student groups, ACS student chapters who are doing green chemistry education work, working towards recognition from the ACS for their green chemistry work. So we really do want them to apply to us for funding. This funding that we give them is so that they are able to actually run those green chemistry events, activities, and outreach initiatives that they need to get that recognition from the ACS. And so this is our way of really trying to support them. I will say we've already kind of talked with 3 winners of that ACS green chemistry student chapter award, we did highlight the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, their student group, and all the really incredible work that they've done back in October. And we're going to be highlighting West Virginia State and California State University, San Marcos too in the future. So stay tuned. In terms of who's eligible for this student chapter grant, it's any ACS student chapter from any minority serving institution. So this grant is a little bit unique that we have in terms of you don't have to be a Green Chemistry Commitment Program signer to apply for it. So please, if you do have a student group at your institution, forward this information to them. They are eligible for this grant. We do want them to apply. We want to give them that funding. We're really excited to also highlight the work that they're doing too, and for them to be able to talk about the green chemistry educational initiatives that they're running. So this is specifically for students. The deadline is February 1st at the end of the day. And if anyone at any point has any questions about the application process, please do email me, and I'm happy to answer any questions about it and to ensure that the application process is fully transparent. So please do forward this, this opportunity to your students. And then this one are kind of our heftier grants, which are available to either faculty or students. Because this grant is for a little bit more money, really the focus of it is to bring green chemistry to your campus and to your community. So I've written some kind of examples of the types of proposed projects or activities there that this grant could entail, but really it's not limited to just that. But this event is for faculty. Oh, sorry, this grant is for faculty or students to run those green chemistry activities or outreach events, or to integrate green chemistry modules into their curricula, their courses, etc. The funding level, we do have 2 awards that are available, and they're $5,000 each. So this is a little bit bigger. I know we've been hearing from the community that this level of funding is usually very helpful in order to either modify a module in a course, for example, or get some new kind of materials into courses. And any faculty or student at a minority serving institution is eligible. And these are minority serving institutions who are green chemistry commitment signers. And so getting your papers in along with the application is possible. The signing process, I will say, is very easy. But we do, these grants are only available for signers, and they're also MSI specific. So this is kind of part of that dedicated funding and support that we want to provide only MSIs here. The deadline for this grant to apply to it is April 30th at the end of the day, and I'll be kind of including all of the information about these grants in the follow-up emails to this session. So I don't have the time to walk you through, unfortunately, right now, the forms or anything like that, but I will provide you all the information in the follow-up. So please do know that these awards are available and that I would really like you to apply for them. And then the last kind of fun thing that I have here is our green chemistry giveaway. So on our website, if you download any of our open access educational resources, so anything from the toxicology curriculum or the lab guides, you are entered into this giveaway, or you can just sign up and enter by following the link there. And that puts you in competition to win a Millipore Sigma gift card and maybe some other kind of fun stuff too. So please do sign up for the giveaway. This is a fun thing that I wanted to kind of highlight for all of you today. So thank you so much for listening to this talk. I just wanted to reiterate again, we are the higher ed team. At any moment in time, please do email us or contact us, reach out with any questions that you have. We will be hosting kind of a Q&A at the end of this session too, so you can ask questions there, or I'm always happy to also have a one-on-one call with anyone. So in whatever way you want to ask me questions, please do feel free. There are just a couple more things here. If you are excited about the Green Chemistry Connections and you do want to share out the information about that with your colleagues, there is a toolkit here which you can use to just share that out. So, you know, you don't have to do anything. You just need to copy paste. That's it. And the same thing too about the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. If you would like to learn a little bit more, you can sign up for our email journey, and that'll give you some more information about the program, basically all the things I've been talking about here. Or you can share this toolkit around with your colleagues or your department chairs, for example. So feel free to sign up for those ones. Thank you very much to our sponsors, without whom this work would not be possible. And it gives me great pleasure to be able to segue into the next section of our info session and to be able to introduce Dr. Nasrin Mirsaleh-Kohan, who is an associate professor of physics at Texas Women's University and a division lead of chemistry and biochemistry at the university. Texas Women's University is a recent green chemistry commitment signer from the MSI community. We are really, really excited to have Nasrin here. She's such a great green chemistry commitment advocate. She also does so many other things too, such as being a sensor leadership fellow. She's been faculty organizers for various kind of green chemistry advocacy initiatives at Texas Women's University, and also has her own research group as well that is interested in developing spectroscopic techniques to understand the nature of interaction of anti-cancer drugs with DNA, and also applications of nanomaterials such as carbon nanotubes. So I will stop sharing my screen and I will hand the floor over to Nasrin. And please join me in welcoming her as a speaker.
Thank you so much, Naim, for the warm introduction. I really appreciate to be here, and thank you so much for everyone to join us. I have a little bit about our department and university and few examples of what we do here. Let me see if I can share my page so we can get it started. Okay. Do you guys see my name? Do you see my...
Yeah, looks great.
Okay, cool. So Texas Women's University, one of the things that's coolest is like we were the 100 institutes to sign, and we just signed the commitment pledge that was in September 22. The last summer, some of our faculty went to green chemistry and they talked to some of the Beyond folks, and they came back and they told me about the pledge and everything, and we were very excited. So we just recently signed, and one of the important things also, as Naim mentioned, we are a Hispanic institute, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our university and department, so you can see like what kind of students we have and what kind of degrees we are having in our department. Texas Women's University, it's in Denton. We have 3 campuses in Denton, Houston, and Dallas. The biggest one is in Denton. Denton is about, I always say, 40 minutes from Dallas, or could be hours from Dallas, depends on the traffic. When TW was started, it was primarily for women. Around 1970s, they opened it to men. So we have about 88% women students, and rest of it are men students. We are 88% women and 25% Hispanic. So we are like our number of diversity is really high, and we are Hispanic institutes. Our students on 3 campuses, about 16,000. So relatively speaking, is an average university. And we are ranked 4th nationally in diversity. Our Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry, we have undergraduate in chemistry and biochemistry, and both of them are American Chemical Society certified. We do not have a PhD program, but we have master students here in our department. We used to have 10 master students or so, but recently, last year, we had the highest number, about 16 to 17 graduate students. So that's very exciting for us. We have also track in environmental chemistry that we established it a little bit before 2020, that I think it was about 3 years now. And we just established a program, accelerated bachelor and master in chemistry. Some places they call it 4+1, some places 3+2. What it is, when we accept the students, they can go through their bachelor and they start research early on so they can be accepted to our master program. Another exciting aspect is we have started our paperwork. We're trying to get a bachelor degree in environmental chemistry. So we established the track and we're trying to get through the process to get our bachelor degree in environmental chemistry, which it's a very important area right now. And the more we talk to high school students, we see a lot of interest in environmental chemistry. So hopefully that would help increase our numbers and have more students. We have a bunch of different instruments. I always have, we have all the toys a chemist or a physicist needs to do some research. So we have been lucky enough to collect a lot of systems you see are typical in chemistry, but we have a lot of tools that our faculty use in their teaching and as well as in research classes. We are very big on undergraduate research. We try to encourage our students to do undergraduate research. This way, a lot of them, they become our master students, but also they improve their skills and they actually like it better, and it helps with their classes as well. They get passionate and they usually they improve their grades as well in their classes. Our mission statement in our department is mainly educating socially responsible, civically engaged chemists and biochemists. So green chemistry, environmental chemistry is part of the mission of the department. And our department also, all of our faculty, like they do research, they have some kind of a research, but I have listed here some of their research, but we also have started having departmental research. In teaching or in our classes, our faculty try to study microplastic in environment. I have a few examples, I'm going to talk about it, but those could be really small project, or undergraduate will be some studying, or they might do a presentations, what's harmful about microplastic in our seminar. So that's our departmental research topic. We also try to take our students to conferences for them to network and also to figure out how they can talk about their research and kind of get excited about chemistry or any other areas they are working on, and figure out why the work they're doing is important. So I have a few pictures of our students. Another thing that Nim mentioned, we are part of a Sensor community. If you haven't heard of Sensor, Sensor stands for Science Education for New Engagements and Responsibilities. It's an NSF funded program, and it started to be focused on science classes, but now it's like every other areas. What the idea behind the Sensor is incorporating civic engagement in your classes. The idea started with, as scientists, we are responsible to solve our community problems, our world problems. So finding problems in the community and trying to incorporate that in classes and ask students to help us solving it. So this national and international community has been around more than 20 years, and Texas Women's University we are the center for Southwest. They have different regions, and we are in the Southwest, which we are responsible for a few states like Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Nevada, and some more. That means like we are the kind of like we host the Southwest region here at TW, and the three area of our focus is environmental sustainability, science teacher prep, and also undergraduate research. So the reason I mentioned this, every year we have a region, at least before COVID, we haven't gone back there too, but we have had a regional meeting that we would invite various speakers to talk about a specific civically related topic. The last one we did was impact of plastic in our environment. When we were working on this topic, we basically started talking about, instead of just telling everyone why plastic is harmful, we should have these events at something we call it zero impact events. Because in our event, how can we cut back on plastic? So we put a group of students with Dr. Kathy Middlecamp. She helped us to figure out how to run this conference basically plastic free. So we call it zero impact. There are some impact. We're trying to minimize the impact. They came up with various things for us to do during our conference. I have few examples here. They figured out what restaurant really does sustainable practices. Funny thing, melon mushroom was one of the ones, actually, they care about environment. They use recycled materials. So we got food from them. We bought dishes so we don't have to use plastics or anything else. We had reusable name tags that you can write with Sharpie and you can clean it. We have been using those. And a lot of other simple things that we ask people to bring their bottles so we don't have to use like reusable bottles. So there was a lot of small things that we could do as part of this conference and just kind of to cut back things. So this group of students have been helping us with 3 more conferences after that, like some meetings at the university to cut back on the waste and try to minimize the use of plastic. And also they are ready to consult with anybody who wants to have one of these kind of events at the university. And at the end, even the food, if we had any waste, one of our faculty had chickens, so they took any compost, anything for the chickens. And I love this picture. So everybody gets a little bit of piece of the conference and nothing went to waste. If the food was good enough, we also donated to the homeless shelter. If there was any compost, then Alana, one of our faculty, took them to her chickens. I have few examples. One of the things I want to mention here as a faculty, as admins for your department, your university, every time we come up with a new idea or doing something new, there is this fear of adding more to the faculty's plates, or like everybody has is doing a lot. I'm just going to show here some of the things we're doing. It's really manageable. We can start small, what make a big difference. So examples I have here, what some of our faculty have done, it's really like slowly trying to go towards sustainability, towards green chemistry. One of the things 2 of our faculty doing, Dr. Salzar has the major class, and then Alana has the class that is for non-science students. They collaborate, they both classes, their students, they take them to field trip, they collect samples of soils, and they do go through some preparation methods. And then they look at plastic in under microscope to see if every sample they find, they see a little bit of plastic. That's a learning experience for non-science students along with science students. They communicate with each other. So you kind of see the background in each, but also we get our non-science students excited about why do they need to care about chemistry or plastic in environment and everything. So this is one of the project, one of our faculty doing. If there's any question I can answer, but I'm going to quickly just mention a few other projects. In our instrumental class that is for our majors, one of the projects they do, they just collect random plastic in their home and anywhere, and they mainly use FTIR. There is no preparation, nothing. They just look at the spectrum and they can identify some of the plastics, and they see like what kind of plastic in these materials are used, and kind of they study how these chemicals can leach from plastic pieces they have had. Another example, that another area that we are working is using the waste, basically creating zero waste as much as we can. In our general chemistry, there are a few labs that our faculty are trying to use the waste for the next lab, do something with it. One of the things they're doing, there is this alum from aluminum. When they make alum from in the lab and everything, then they can use it in another lab, make a Play-Doh, which is exciting and it's fun, and the students really having a lot of fun. They just use some color and flour with the and so that there is no waste there. They can use that to use on something else. The other one, chemistry of the copper. At the end of the day, when they have some kind of instead of throwing out all the produced copper metals, they just wash them and use it for another lab. So little things like that. Our chemistry club, which we call it Kappa Epsilon Mu Chem Club, they're trying to kind of have some of those practices too. One of the things, it's like you guys have heard of Jenny in the bottle. So the way they do it, instead of they use expired hydrogen peroxide in their experiment. When the other labs, they have this sometimes in our in our stock room, when we don't use it, the hydrogen peroxide gets old, so they reuse it in their experiment to do the magic shows they do around the town or whenever they go to any high schools. Another example is this, when you have this blue bottle experiment, you shake it and changes color. It basically works on the reducing agent. Glucose acts like a reducing agent. They know that if you keep the solution in the same bottle, just put some kind of rubber stopper on it or something, you can reuse it. You don't have to mix that every time and use it. So they have been reusing this solution as well. That's another area that we're trying to cut back waste. So at the end of the day, the idea is we want our department going through green chemistry. The big picture here is all of our especially organic labs, general chemistry lab, as much as we can create no waste or try to stay green. But this could be something along the way. So what we're trying to take smaller steps. Each faculty does a little bit tweaking in their labs, in their research, in their practices, our students group, our events, our seminar, and we are moving positively forward, but smaller step and manageable, so it doesn't overwhelm anyone, and we are working as the department to do that. Few of examples of long-term ideas we have, just changing our experiments as we go, one at a time, one step at a time. We also working with a healthy building network. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. They have a whole they have something they call it FAIRS, which has over 17,000 chemicals, and if you go to their website, you can look up each chemical and tells all the toxicity of each chemicals, why is it bad, or so. We're trying to incorporate some of their database in our classes so our students can look for data, and as they're looking at this, try to see if they can replace it with something more green. And overall, so what is our long-term overall goal is moving towards it with all of our labs. But at the end of the day, what I love about this pledge, as a department, as a university, we pledge to educate socially responsible, civically engaged chemists and biochemists with ethical reasoning skills. That's the end goal, the students we are graduating here. I have one more last slide to talk about another. So everything we do as green chemistry, as part of it, the connecting to other projects we're doing, we're working on increasing indigenous students in STEM. As part of that, we have no land acknowledgement as a university. So we started working on land acknowledgement. But one of the important aspects of land acknowledgement is connecting it to some kind of actions. So our actions as a university, we are focusing on basically advocating for sustainability, minimizing environmental impact on this land. We're still working on land acknowledgement. Hopefully very soon I have the complete land acknowledgement. And again, we are doing this together as an NEMSET, as a community. Why do we reinvent the wheels? We can help each other. We can do this together. There are a lot of resources. Like, for instance, I contacted NEMSET, like, we're going to change some of our organic lab. Do you have anything you can share with us? And she sent us some stuff. So at the end of the day, all of this, as a network, we can help each other to take care of this land. So thank you so much for having me today, and thank you all the work here is faculty and students of our department. I'm just a messenger here. So I appreciate to have this platform to talk a little bit about our department, and I'm happy if we have time to take, I don't know, do we have time to take any questions, if anything is specific? I hope I didn't get over time. I'm trying to, I get excited about what we do, but these are some of the examples. Mainly, I wanted to focus on manageable projects that we can do and still move forward, positively move forward.
Thank you so much. Yes,
thank you.
You are more than on time, no worries at all. And that was a fantastic presentation. And that aspect of manageable steps and small growth being progress towards long-term goals is something that I'm definitely going to keep kind of reiterating. So I'm really, really glad that that was such a major part of your presentation. But anyways, I do want to open the floor for questions specifically for Nasrin right now, and then we can open the floor afterwards for a general Q&A. But just for Nasrin at the moment, feel free to just go for it.
I do have a question about your alum synthesis. When you do that in the lab, do you use KOH and sulfuric acid, or do you have some other way of doing it?
That's a great question. So the aluminum one they were doing it is in general chemistry, and I teach all the physics labs. One thing I said at the beginning to them is like, I'm the physicist of the department. I can check it for you and say exactly what they're doing in the lab. So,
Well, I was
yes.
just wondering about the waste stream. You know, if it's a green process, you ought to have a clean waste stream. I don't see that being smooth.
Yeah. So we haven't done the green part of the beginning of it yet. So that's the thing, that a lot of our experiments, the process is still is not green, but the waste, whatever, we're trying to cut the waste back.
Mm.
And then the Play-Doh, sometimes even like the kids, they can play with them, and they can like make it to like our chem club. They can take it, and like some of them, they go to the science museum or something. The kids, they make Play-Doh, and they really get their hands basically dirty, and they have a lot of fun using it.
I have a question. So throughout your presentation, you were emphasizing, you know, like these kind of small steps for progress. And kind of actually this question that you just asked, Ron, is a good example of that, where we hear sometimes from our community that there is a little bit of anxiety around, let's say, changing modules in labs or something like that, because people are worried that, you know, these kind of smaller steps are not enough. So Nasrin, I was wondering if you could comment on like how you all decided to do that together as a department, and then also how like that tied into you wanting to sign the commitment as well.
Absolutely. So one of the things actually triggered when we were talking about what topic would be important to have our regional meeting, when we said plastics, and then when we have the students together, we talked about this in our faculty meeting. We talked about it via emails, telling all of our faculty what we're trying to do. And we did not ask anybody to do it. Like, it wasn't like anybody wants to start talking to us if they want to help out. So it was kind of a voluntarily thing. But when you're talking about green chemistry and environmental, and as soon as talk about how harmful, if you just have one or two examples of how harmful this thing can be, oftentimes other people want to do something about it. So it was one of the items in one of our faculty meeting, just the idea of, let's as a department figure out what are some things we can cut back. And one of the things was just purchasing few water bottle to all of our faculty and graduate students. Maybe if they have one, then they will use it. And then in our seminar, like every time we have a seminar, we have a smaller department. So sometimes when we have a speaker, we have pizza. At the beginning, I tell everyone, see, the cups we have is not plastic. I explain what we're trying to do. So it's more work to have things we have to wash, but we tell the students why we're doing it. Sometimes it's just if one person does it, but we try to emphasize it. So we try to have that conversation. Sometimes it's just in the classroom, or sometimes in faculty meeting. And as soon as there's a small news or something about green I try to push it to the university news. So when we join the green chemistry, I make sure this is a news, because if everybody knows it, like, you don't have to be, again, I'm not a chemist, I'm a physicist. You don't have to be a chemist to do anything, even like a community. So if we start talking to our city of Denton, try to see what they can do in their offices as part of it. It's really like, they call it, it's really going green. It's just not green chemistry. It's like really saving the environment. And it's a really hot topic. You'd be surprised. Many know exactly what we're talking about. The conversation is really out there. That's a long answer, but yeah, we started with emails and faculty meetings and asking who's interested, not you have to do this or this.
No, I think that was an excellent answer. There's a question that I did want to highlight in the chat, actually. So I'll just read it. How many students do you have in your chemistry and biochemistry programs? And do you use a separate lab period to discuss green chemistry at the beginning of a semester? Or do you incorporate the ideas as you do the weekly labs?
So we have about 100 majors, trying to increase it. We have 100 chemistry and biochemistry majors, and our classes, we have 2 type of chemistry classes. There is one for everybody else who's not our majors and they taking chemistry, we call that general chemistry, and then we have another class, we call it principle of chemistry, for the ones they are our majors. So the principal chemistry usually 20 something smaller classes. The green chemistry idea, at the beginning of the lab we have a safety. They go over the safety, and that's part of it. As they're talking about safety, they talk about green and how it's even the safety becomes easier if you're using green chemistry. So we do it at the beginning of the semester, but every other lab, if the lab has been tweaked, if there is something green about that lab, instructor and TA, again, they explain to the students why we're doing what we're doing. I know some of our faculty even sometimes they give the students project like, okay, we did this lab. Can you go do a research, see if there's anything in the lab we can change to make it green? As far as the reaction goes, as far as the tools we are using, like instead of just using this plastic, whatever, gloves, if changing the gloves and stuff like that. So sometimes they leave it to students to do the research part and report it back. So I would say it's constantly. Any opportunity we see to talk about it, at the beginning we introduced the idea, but it constantly comes into labs and classes, for both majors and non-majors.
Perfect, thank you. I did want to take this opportunity as well to open the floor up for some more general questions. If anyone has any questions about the Green Chemistry Commitment Program, how that works, how the signing process works. I think one thing that I would like to just say right off the bat is that this is really not a prescriptive program. This is a program where you sign and you commit to future activities, but we're not going to be telling you how to do that because we know that things look different at different institutions. The other thing I did want to also just re-highlight what Nasrin was saying is that small incremental progress is, like great. And that is what we want to be able to see. You don't need to have kind of lofty green chemistry activities already occurring at your institution to be able to sign and to be part of the program. You could even be doing no green chemistry right now and be able to sign tomorrow. So I did want to just kind of lay that out there, but please do ask me any questions that you might have about that. And I welcome that right now.
I have another question if I can.
Yeah.
History has shown us that many times when politics and science mix, we end up with bad science. Is there any way your organization is going to try to prevent politics from infusing into what you do here?
That's a great question. I will say we are not a politically active organization. So we're not kind of, I guess, like influenced by, let's say, because education is really what we're trying to do and we're liaising with educators primarily, I would say that aspect of it doesn't necessarily come in. What we do advocate for is green chemistry education to be implemented at institutions. We know sometimes that can be harder to do depending on the institution that you're at, which is why we're kind of emphasizing that small incremental progress, that change. But our goals are very consistent and they don't change based on what's happening in politics, I would say, if that answers your question.
I was more concerned about when the clean air and clean water movement started. It was fine. It was done by small organizations, people that cared. And then the government created the EPA and caused a real mess in industry. They did some good, they did some bad, but in any case, at that point, we didn't have much control over what they did. That's really my deep concern about this kind of thing. The government takes over green chemistry, they're going to be dictating.
I guess I can't really kind of comment on that at the moment in terms of like what the government is or isn't going to do. I can mainly just comment on kind of what we do as an organization, which right now is, again, that kind of really personal interaction through our own independent program. So if that's basically the extent to which I'm able to answer your question, I guess.
I'm not trying to scare people either, you know, I just want people to be aware that it's a concern.
No, of course. And it's very important to be able to have these conversations and to talk about it, because students are also going to be asking these questions. So yeah, as we kind of go ahead.
I may add, Ron, so one of the things we do, like as part of the sensor, teaching our students democracy and making them think they can get involved in politics. So we're hoping our students will be the future politicians, some of them at least, so would help this movement. That's my hope, like educating our students to know that they can make a difference in politics. And we had 2 students, they decided to be lawyers after getting their chemistry degree. So there's hope. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Another question just popped up in the chat, so I just wanted to highlight that. So who signs the commitment, a faculty member or dean or upper admin? Very good question. So on the form, and Natalie can kind of fact check me on this too, we do need a department chair type person to sign, and then also an upper administration person to sign. And then you as the kind of faculty point of contact are also involved in that process. But really the only 2 signatures that we need are from your department chair or department chair equivalent, because we do know that the structure of different departments do look different depending on the institution, and then someone from upper administration. And what can I do tomorrow to get the ball rolling? Well, I can send you the forms, and we do have, yes, thank you, Juliana. There is a page on our website that goes through all the steps in signing. I am going to also be including that information in the follow-up email that I'm sending to all of you. But really, I would say the first step is to just download the forms. You can either sign them electronically or print them out and sign them, and approach your department chair, I would say, is like a really good first step, because they're probably the first person who's going to need to sign on to it. But again, we're here to support you through any aspect of that process. And if, you know, meetings with your department chairs are needed, or if you would like us to send somebody to give a talk at your institution, or even to get more involved with kind of answering questions about the program, which again is not prescriptive, I just want to kind of say that again. We won't be evaluating your progress in your green chemistry goals or anything like that. The only thing we do yearly is an audit, which is more of a survey to kind of assess, not assess, that's the wrong word, to get more feedback about what's happening within the signer community, I would say. That is the only kind of piece of feedback that we're going to need from you. But in general, really what we love to see is like the engagement and the networking and connections that all of you are making with one another. And so that, and then things like the grants which are offered to signers are kind of the major things that we do want to highlight for you as benefits of the program, if that makes sense. Yes, beautiful. Thanks, Juliana, for putting that in there. And yes, again, the slides and all this information will be included in a follow-up email to all of you, along with the recording, and you can feel free to disseminate and share as you want. Were there any other questions about the program or about Beyond Benign or the GCTLC, anything?
I'm just going to pop in and echo what Nim has said, and wonderful session, Nim, in leading this, and Nasrin for your input and your viewpoint of this, coming into this community as not a chemist and just sharing what you've shared is wonderful as well. So thank you for your time and energy today. And just to reiterate all the things that Nim has already said, please reach out to us. We are here to be the support for you as the advocate on your campus. We understand that these are not always easy conversations to have, depending upon where you are in your journey of green chemistry as well, or where you are in your career path, what stage and what level you're at. So please reach out to us. We can help support you in knowing the paths that other green chemistry commitment signers have taken, and even connect you with them as resources as well. So we're here to be your cheerleaders, and just let us know what we can do to support you in the next steps as you get the balls rolling on your campus.
we are a little bit over time, so thank you so much to all of you for staying and for kind of engaging in these conversations. And a huge thank you to Nasrin for her excellent talk. If we can all just another round of applause. Thank you for joining today. And yes, yeah, please do just email me or Natalie or Juliana. We're here. We're always happy to talk and to chat for you to learn more. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we will see you soon. And come to the Connections next Wednesday. We'll be there. All right. Thanks, everyone.